Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our introduction to LifeWave and the star of our show, our product, the X39. We get here together every week to introduce a very special company with an amazing technology, and we have a special guest every week. And this evening we have Dr. Stuart Freedenfeld, and my name is Robin Blank Mascari, your host this evening. So we're going to do a brief overview, history of the company, and a little bit about the technology and our founder. And then we're going to bring on our expert doctor, and he's going to share a little bit more about our technology and this special product that we have called X39, our stem cell activation patch. And then it's your turn. We have some time for you to ask questions, to share your stories, and we thank you for being compliant by realizing that we are a natural products company, so we're not here to heal, cure, any kind of dis-ease. And so please mention symptoms only. And let's get started. And how we like to start this show is turn things over to none other than Gregory Mascari, who's going to do a wonderful brief presentation about a little bit about our company, the science and the technology, and our owner. So over to you, Gregory.
Well, thanks, Robin. Good evening, everyone. And I'm excited to be able to share just a little bit on the front end here about LifeWave, David Schmidt, and this historic breakthrough in affordable stem cell technology. And I'd like to start by sharing an awareness that I came to a while ago, as I finally figured out what I want to be when I get older, younger. Getting old is not such a cool thing, but I also realized that age is a feeling, not a number. So welcome to the stem cell revolution, where everyone wants to look, feel, perform, and live younger. And certainly stem cells are the key because they're a vital part of our immune system that repair and regenerates damaged cells. The problem is, the older we get, the fewer stem cells we have. And by age 60, only a small percentage remain. And the fewer stem cells we have, the faster we age and the slower we heal. So what about stem cell injections? And, they're getting very popular, but they're also very expensive. They can be very painful, risky, controversial, and, there's no guaranteed results. Well, we've got some good news for you, because you can look, feel, perform, heal, and live younger with this historic breakthrough in stem cell technology. It's a wearable technology in patch form. It's affordable, it's safe, it's non-invasive, it's non-drug, non-transdermal. It's actually a patented form of phototherapy, and it uses specific frequencies of light to increase and improve our stem cell activity. It's the brainchild of our visionary founder and CEO, David Schmidt, who's not only a brilliant scientist and researcher, he's a genius inventor with over 100 patents and patent pendings. And he's been on the leading edge of phototherapy research and science for over 20 years. David has actually already conducted over 90 clinical studies proving the efficacy of LifeWave phototherapy products. And there are many more clinical trials in the works. So LifeWave is a 16-year-old technology company founded in 2004 based on this energy enhancing technology David developed for Navy SEALs to increase strength, stamina, and performance without the need for drugs, stimulants, or caffeine. The technology turned out to be so effective, it's now used by world-class athletes around the world in almost every sport. We have corporate headquarters, laboratory, and manufacturing diversified through California, Utah, and Ireland. And we already have global distribution to 75 plus countries with 14 global distribution centers. So let's talk briefly how this amazing technology actually works. And it's based on a type of light therapy called photobiomodulation. And LifeWave patches contain very specific combinations of organic materials and crystals. When applied or near the body, they're activated by our body heat. And then they begin to emit very specific wavelengths of light, which stimulate targeted and beneficial biochemical responses in the body. This is known as photobiomodulation, and it's the basis for LifeWave phototherapy patches. Now, it's been a well-recognized and proven scientific principle that specific frequencies of light can cause very specific changes within our body. For example, when we go out in the sun, a specific frequency of sunlight causes our body to make vitamin D. We're not getting a vitamin D download from the sun. And another frequency of sunlight causes our body to make melanin, the chemical that gives us a suntan. Well, LifeWave's patented technology is based on the same rock solid, well recognized scientific principle. Now, our focus for the last 11 years has been in the field of anti aging and regenerative science. And I'm happy to tell you that in January of 2019, a little over 2 years ago, we released to the global market LifeWave's greatest product thus far, David's greatest invention thus far, the X39 stem cell activation patch. This truly is a historic and affordable breakthrough in stem cell technology. Some are calling it the holy grail of anti-aging restorative science, and we are actually doing what the multi-billion-dollar companies and big pharma have not been able to do. And X39 actually activates a very specific copper peptide that activates our stem cells. It also alters gene expression towards a younger and more vibrant you. And yes, we have patents. Yes, we have clinical studies. And yes, we have tremendous field results proving that X39 is actually turning back our biological clock, helping people to look, feel, perform, and live younger. And for us baby boomers, this is very exciting news. So what I'd like to do is turn this back over to you, Robin, and to introduce our doctor for this evening. So thanks very much.
Thank you, Gregory. That was wonderful. As always, you make it so much easier for all of us. And I know a lot of people love that presentation, are starting to use it in their homes. So it is my pleasure to bring on Dr. Stuart Freedenfeld. And Stuart's an MD, and he was in practice and teaching back in the 70s and 80s. And then late in the 80s, he expanded his interest into more of the natural realm and started studying herbal medicine, nutritional therapies, homeopathy. And then he was giving these options to his patients. So he's gone hundreds of hours of additional study to gain expertise in traditional herbalism, Chinese herbalism, homeopathy, natural medicine, and IV therapies such as chelation. So he's a respected international lecturer in the areas of autism, ADD, ADHD, detoxification, and many of the afflictions associated with aging. We are thrilled to have him with us this evening. Dr. Stuart, you want to join us?
Yeah.
There he is. Hi.
Hey, everybody.
Good evening.
And hello, Robin.
I love it. Great to have you. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And it's so wonderful to have someone with your background and experience that has kind of integrated both sides, the conventional and more of the natural practices. And then you found LifeWave. So what is it about LifeWave, Dr. Stuart, that attracted you to join and come on board?
Well, yeah, Gregory touched on a lot of the stuff, but for me in functional medicine, we see a lot of hype and hyperbole about, oh, the latest and greatest treatments for everything from HIV to cancer. And you get kind of used to that kind of exaggerated statements from supplement suppliers and doctors who are marketing their own practices, and everybody patting themselves on the back. So you get this kind of a skeptical notion of yeah, but it's always important to be an open-minded skeptic so that you are aware and able to take in some of the new technologies that may have something really wonderful to offer. So when Dr. Liu approached me and said, gee, she found this wonderful patch product and wanted me to try it out and let her know what I thought of it, I opened up my skepticism apparatus and said, sure, I'll try it. It was a fascinating experience for me. I am a very vigorous individual. In my early 70s, I am still very active in sports and heavy labor. I chop wood and build rock walls. So I end up with a lot of aches and pains and a lot of injuries. When I first got the X39 patch, I put it on a pretty bad back injury. And within an hour, I was feeling better. So, it's kind of interesting. And I moved it to the back of my neck, that standard place that we often put it. And I've been wearing it there most of the time. With that, I've noticed improvement in my stamina and my recovery time from sports. You play 2 hours of soccer and at age 72 and a half, and you tend to be sore, and it takes a while to recover. But now, instead of 2 or 3 days of pain, I come home from a 2-hour game, and I go out in the garden and I continue working. So these have been pretty dramatic improvements. Patricia, the love of my life, has also used the patches, and she noticed a dramatic improvement in her exercise tolerance. She's got a painful neuropathy in her feet that has troubled her for a dozen years, and nothing we have done. And my very big quiver of arrows, nothing really was able to control it. But after a couple of months of X39, she says the pain is about 70% better, and she's back hiking again. So we had really wonderful personal experiences.
I love it. I love it. We love healthy skeptics. Those are our favorites because when a healthy skeptic gets converted, get out of the way, and so you've been having, and this is what we hear from most of our practitioners. I have to experience it first before I'm willing to, talk about it with anyone else. And so this new technology that activates your own stem cells, a lot of people have heard the term stem cells. Why are they so important?
So we begin life as a stem cell. Sperm meets egg, and we have a fertilized ovum. That is the first embryonic stem cell. That one cell contains all of the information, the encyclopedia of information for everything about humanity. It divides and divides, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and they're all the same. But eventually, some of them begin to differentiate. One line will start forming placenta parts. Another line starts to form baby parts. And in the baby parts, some of those stem cells, that embryonic stem cell, will mature a bit and become a mesenchymal stem cell that will go on to produce muscles and connective tissue, bones and ligaments. A hemopoietic line of stem cells will produce our white cells and red cells and platelets and on. So we develop these stem cells that are the foundation of all of our body, but also how we repair. We don't repair a damaged muscle by the muscle dividing and forming new muscles. We actually go back to a stem cell, which produces new muscle tissue. So as we repair, as we regenerate our skin, which is built out from the basal cells, every 7 days, you get a whole new layer of skin and a whole new lining of the intestines. That's all comes from stem cells.
Wow.
As our stem cells, you're going to touch on that, as we age, our ability to produce and activate stem cells diminishes very significantly. So this seems to be a great way to naturally get stem cells back. I used to inject stem cells. We would harvest them from adipose tissue or bone marrow, or you can go out of the country and get umbilical stem cells for $10,000, $25,000 a shot, with limited success, because you really are not getting the specific line that you're trying to repair. If you're trying to repair a specific brain cell, you can't take an adipose tissue, stem cell, and produce brain tissue. But if we could stimulate our own stem cells to reproduce, we got a pretty unique opportunity.
Wow. So we start out as a stem cell, and the beauty of stem cells is they can become anything. And as we get older, we have less, and they really make a huge difference in our body's ability to repair. So as we get older, having more of them is a huge contribution. And someone in the chat says, "Doctor looks great. He's not 72." Well, when you keep yourself in great shape, you have more stem cells, don't you?
I don't know that you stimulate stem cells by exercise.
Fasting does, yeah. Yeah. There's different ways to stimulate your own, but this way we actually get younger ones and activate the ones we have. So the patch, the product we're talking about looks like this.
Well, with the on it.
Huh?
With the backing on it.
With the backing on it, yes, it has a backing on it. That's true. I just want everyone to see what, because we have a lot of people that are brand new and they're going, it looks like a Band-Aid the size of a quarter. And yeah, it's amazing. Gregory explained what it does. How do people get the maximum benefit from utilizing this product on their body?
Well, so you want to, if we're taking something, let me describe life as a river that flows from its origin until the ultimate end of life. And there, it flows to the end. We want to try to stay healthy, well, we're going to try to tread water and not keep going downriver. With things like eating organic food and exercising and meditating, these all keep our body healthier, so we're better able to swim up that stream. The X39 adds to that ability to swim upstream, keep ourselves more youthful. But if we are not drinking enough fluids, if we are eating food that is poisoned with pesticides and nitrates and chemicals of all sorts, if we are carrying unhealthy thoughts, if we are abusing our bodies with too much stress, then that river flows faster. So trying to tread water is more difficult. Trying to swim upstream becomes impossible. To get the best out of anything that is trying to improve your health, make it as healthy an environment in body and mind as you can.
I love that you said that, because David talks about that all the time. Is, the patches do their work, but we've got to do our work too. Yeah. And so where you're coming from is, what we take in, what we think, the air we breathe, the water we drink, all of those things contribute, and the hydration piece is an important part, because of the product does operate on our body's electrical system that needs hydration. So when people start using this, what are some of the things they can expect to experience, and how long does that take?
That's pretty variable. I had a very dramatic response, and of course, when that happens to me, then I'm going to tell everybody, "Oh my God, this is wonderful!" Patch on, and you will glow in the dark, and everything is wonderful. But my experience has not been that. There are some people who get a very dramatic pain relief, often very quickly. But more often, I think in my experience, it's been more often that people experience the benefits over time. That may be days, weeks. I generally recommend people commit to 2 or 3 months to see what kind of benefits, and to do some sort of a tracking, a quality of life assessment that quantifies what they were experiencing at the beginning, how often they were getting headaches, how much back pain they had, and do a 0 to 7 scale, however it works out for you, and add in things that are bothering you, and begin to track them over time. So in my own experience, my blood pressure started to go down after several months. That nasty BPH symptom is easing up. I just have a stronger stream. that chronic neck pain I've had with neuropathy. I don't have it anymore.
Isn't that fun?
It's disappeared. Yeah, it's. I used to wear a magnetic necklace all the time. The only thing that kept the neuropathy pain under control. I haven't worn that for 3 or 4 months now, and I forgot about it. I found it in my closet.
Isn't that wonderful? Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, you said something really important because there's a whole variance. I mean, some people can have an instant experience, like you mentioned, and some people it's going to be much more subtle over time. And so giving it several months. And you also talked about a health tracker. We actually have a health tracker. It's available in our Facebook group. It's available on Nitty Gritty, and it's called the Health Tracker. And giving yourself, like you mentioned, a baseline where you're starting from before you start using the product, because some of you are brand new and you're just getting started. And then in 24 hours, see if you notice anything. And there's a whole list of things to notice, whether it be mental clarity, energy, pain relief, mobility, sleep quality. There's so many different things that it's like, can one little thing like this do all that? It can. But for some people, it's much more subtle over time. And the beauty is that it's cumulative. Now, what if someone has notices when they start using the product that things feel worse? What do you say to them?
Sometimes things will get worse. There are situations where the recovery backs out through the same process that it appeared. So you may get a recurrence of symptoms that you had worked past as you were getting worse. And there's also what we often call a healing crisis. There, you just begin to feel more symptoms because the tissues are recovering.
Beautiful. And that's, I love quoting Dr. Nicholas here. He says, feeling is healing. So sometimes it doesn't feel too good. And but that's a good thing because it's working. And sometimes people don't notice anything. And that's a good thing too, because it's working. That's the beauty, because stem cells have this innate wisdom to go to where they're most needed, which is very exciting. So anything else before we open up to our participants that you want to share about the company, the product, your experience, anything?
X39, we do focus on stem cells, but I think that there is so much more involved to what this is doing. It is regenerating a healthy genetic code. It is increasing certain amino acids, branched chain amino acids that are necessary for tissue repair. Tryptophan that increases serotonin and helps with depression and anxiety and sleep and melatonin production. It increases mitochondrial function for energy enhancement. It increases glutathione and superoxide dismutase, these things that help us detoxify and keep toxic chemicals under control. So it has a great variety of benefits.
I love that. And we do call it the stem cell activation patch, but like you said, it does so much more. That's only, I remember when the very first introduction happened and David was in Austria and we were getting reports back from David Jumper because he was at the meeting and he said, this is so exciting, this GHK-CU peptide, oh my goodness. So we recommend and invite everyone to do your own research on this copper peptide because it does so much more than activate stem cells, which is huge, and help your body create new ones out of skin cells. And this book called GHK Copper, whoops, I should show you the author's name here. Dr. Lauren Picard is the reason we have this patch, because he has devoted his life of researching almost 50 years to discover this peptide. So we invite each of you to do your own research, whether if you're a practitioner on PubMed.gov or your favorite search engine, because they're like Dr. Stuart was saying, it alters gene expression, it accelerates wound healing, it enhances athletic performance, so many different things. So let's see who wants to share this evening. So remember that someone had their hand up and I don't see it any longer. We have a question. I love this question. This is one of my favorite alkalarians, Richard Davidson, who teaches people how to live an alkalized lifestyle. Dr. Stuart, you might be very interested. And he's a very vibrant, 80 years young. And he said, how many stem cells do we have when we're 80 years young?
Well, at 60, we're down to about 10% of our youthful level.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be in the low single digits.
Not too many. Not too many. Okay, great. So there, and what's beautiful is David didn't know, he didn't think that after 70 years old, this patch would really be effective. And he was delighted when we started getting the stories in from 70s, 80s, 90-plus-year-olds. And we have many, many of those. So we're thrilled about that. Evangeline is asking, please suggest protocols for waking up at night. I can fall asleep instantly, but I wake up about 2 hours later. What would you recommend for that, Dr. Stuart?
Well, there are several patches that can be helpful. And it depends on the individual. So you may want to experiment with some of them. X39 has been helpful for a lot of people in improving sleep because of the tryptophan, serotonin connection. For me, the Eon is very helpful for people who have inflammatory problems. That brain on fire doesn't sleep very well. For me, Alavita was a dramatic improvement. I'm a 4 to 6 hour sleeper at best, but with the Alavita, I was bringing that up to 6 and 7 on a pretty regular basis, which was hugely beneficial.
Wow. So what I'm hearing you say is there are several different patches that can assist with quality of sleep.
Yep.
How do people know which one to use?
Experiment.
Okay. I love that, because what's wonderful is, you can't hurt yourself and everybody's different. And so trust your instincts and try different things. And David did do a wonderful webinar on sleep, and he talks about the different patches and the conditions to create a great environment.
Also personalized too. If you do something in the evening, like have alcohol, well, alcohol has a sedating effect that lasts for a few hours, depending on how you metabolize alcohol. It may last longer or shorter. But when that alcohol wears off, it may make you sleepy, but when it wears off, you may become hypervigilant. So if you're typically waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe it's the alcohol that you're having 4 or 5 hours earlier.
Okay, so paying attention to what you put in your body is also going to affect the quality of your sleep.
And what's going on when you wake up.
Uh-huh. Good point. And how you're feeling when you wake up. Okay, Lynn has got her hand up. So Lynn, do you have something to share with us? You're unmuted. And I asked you to unmute. And so let's see. You should be able to talk. You've got to unmute your line, Lynn. Okay, you've got to unmute, my dear.
On the top, one with a red line through it.
I know that means she's on mute, but she's got to unmute herself.
That's not the look.
So I can't do that one. So Lynn, all right. Well, we'll come back to you because you're still available to talk. So let's go to Wendy. Wendy says she's been using X39 glutathione and Eon localized for some SI joint pain and inflammation, along with Ice Wave for nerve pain running down her leg. It's helped some. Do you have any ideas on how to turbocharge that?
I think the treatment that I had the most success with in my entire practice, and I did a lot of stuff, was treating SI joint and the associated sciatica with an injection of ozone into the SI joint. So if you can find a listener who can inject ozone into that joint, you will find relief within a few minutes.
Oh my gosh. Wendy, I hope you heard that. This is exciting. Okay. Coach Clarissa has a question from Jocelyn. what protocol do you suggest for a 75-year-old who's unable to stabilize her blood sugar with with several meds? And she tried, I'm not sure what IF is, X39, carnosine, glutathione, and eon. She's frustrated. So what would she do?
So the treatment of diabetes is complex, but primarily diet. A diet for a diabetic should be free of sugars and carbohydrates. Remember that carbohydrates are made of amylose, which is nothing but a string of glucose molecules bound together. And when they are consumed, the only thing the intestines can do is break those glucose molecules apart to be absorbed as sugar. So getting starch out of your diet, the bread, pasta, potatoes, corn, rice, will go a long way to improving blood sugar control.
Okay, so, food is poison and food is medicine, and you've certainly become an expert in that world also. So again, it's not just the magic patch, it's we got to do our part. And I'm not sure if that was a type, well, we don't want to mention disease states, but blood sugar challenges. So diet is really significant, and lifestyle. And thank you. IF is intermittent fasting. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. So you work with a special population. You're an expert, and I don't want to mention the diagnosis. People that are on this kind of spectrum. Do you have any particular protocols to support people that have this kind of imbalance?
I don't have protocols because I'm still working things out. I've tried patches with a number of folks with generally good results. We are organizing a study now. We're going to put 50 patients through different regimens and try and get an idea of what we achieve with each one. But in general, we're using X39, carnosine, glutathione, eon, and a as yet unreleased patch.
Don't tell.
Goes unnamed. So we'll have more information in a year or so.
Okay, and you're working with David on this study, aren't you?
Yes.
Great, great. So there's lots more studies happening, and I think everyone should know that this is a very special company. And Gregory likes to say lots of owners want the bigger boat, the bigger house. David wants to spend more money on research, and aren't we blessed that we have so many studies that validate the effectiveness of this technology. So let's see.
As a functional medicine physician and on the lecture circuit, I would recommend studies to a number of supplement companies because they had a great product. Say, let's put it online and let's do a study and see what we can prove. And they would usually back off. So when someone like David says, yeah, put my stuff out there and let's do the science and report the results, not confidence, it also shows scientific integrity and dedication to the healthcare system. So
yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and that's what's attracted so many high quality practitioners like yourself into this world. So Lynn, were you able to unmute your line? I don't see it unmuted. Okay, maybe you can write your testimonial because we're going to be finished in just a minute. We have a few more questions. There's someone that's dealing with dizziness and muscle pain. Is there a patch that can help? And she also has a daughter with gallstones.
Yeah.
Any idea?
Dizziness is a broad term that has many meanings. It may be a spinning sensation that doctors call vertigo. It may be a wobbliness, a unsteadiness. So it's need more definition of that.
Okay.
In general, the head protocol may be helpful, and you could mention where they could just see that.
Would you just share a little bit about, because a lot of people might not have ever heard what the head protocol is. Could you explain what it is and what's happening in the brain when people are using that?
Well, what's happening in the brain is interesting. I don't know. We'd love to have an insight on that one. But we're using a few of the patches in a combination, most typically, and then there's variations in the protocol. So it's a beginning, a framework, and not a protocol. We'll typically use eon and glutathione on the crown of the head. And then glutathione is a detoxifying substance. Eon is that it helps to balance the autonomic nervous system. It's very anti-inflammatory. And then we'll use either ice wave or energy enhancer on the temples and or the front and back of the head. And I had one experience with this in the year that I've been using these, and that was a longtime friend and patient who fell down a flight of steps and had a moderate traumatic brain injury, moderate in that she had marked difficulty in speech, in word finding and getting her thoughts organized and out. And she had an exam that she had to do 2 days hence. So I said, come on over. And I came to my house, and I put the Eon patch on her crown. And she said, oh, I just felt a whoosh, and the energy just drained out my feet. But the important thing was she said that with clarity. She continued to speak with clarity. Her speech improved that dramatically.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
It is clearly unbelievable. And if any believes me out there, you're crazy. I felt it in seeing it, but it's what.
All I've heard from, a non-scientific person here is that it synchronizes brain frequencies, and lots of other wonderful things happen because of that. That's as much as I've heard. But we have amazing stories for people that have had, neurologically based challenges, whatever it may be, from an injury or, a stroke or something or an imbalance, a mental imbalance. So a lot of people like to put the patches in a hat and wear the hat. Gregory and I keep a hat at our desk. Mine has disappeared. I have my LifeWave hat, and we call it our smart hat, because for people that don't need it for the challenges, it actually does what you just mentioned, is create the sense of calm and focus. And I think in the test, they found the frequencies of a 30 or 40-year meditator. So it's a wonderful thing to try and see how you like it. Yeah. Good thing. Well, we are at the end of our time. I want to thank you, Dr. Stuart, for being with us. It's always, we're just getting to know each other, and I love having you on. You're a gift to our community in the larger sense, too. The fact that you're doing this wonderful research with David and really contributing so much of your wisdom and your background as a functional medicine doctor is a huge gift to all of us. And thank you all for joining us this evening. We have some new people on here. I don't know how many new, but I see some familiar names. It's wonderful. If you are invited here as a guest this evening, please get back to the person who invited you and get started. We have a guarantee on the products. There's a 30-day risk-free guarantee, and we have a customer program. We have a program, if you like to share, that's very generous compensation as a member distributor. So please reach out to the person who invited you. And thank you so much for joining us. This call will be available on our YouTube channel tomorrow at liveyoungeryoutube.com. And you go to the playlist for Tuesday night, and you'll be able to search by date and get to see this show again or share it with anyone you want. Thank you, Dr. Stuart. Have a great evening, everyone. Bye-bye.